Aloha Kohala. You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. This is Eila Allgood
Michál Anna.
and we are here to do Intuitive Talk Story. It is November 6th, Wednesday, 2024. Welcome, dear.
Aloha.
Aloha.
It's been a little while since I've seen you, and so much is happening.
So much.
Wow, what amazing times to be alive on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So much shaken out, shaken up, and a lot of people, world events going on, elections, all sorts of things out in the ethers. I haven't been concentrated on any of that. I've been concentrated on etherical, dimensional work and that process, but they're honestly the same because it's all the same. We're all bifurcating. We're all getting the opportunity to make choices, and whatever you see in front of you is presenting an opportunity to look at how it makes you feel and to let that go and to choose a higher path.
I love to choose a higher path. That's really what it's about. We can hear stories from people, we can read stories about things, and then we can take that in as our truth, or we can really find out what is my truth and what path do I want to be on, what kind of experience do I want in this life.
And ultimately, it's, am I living in love or am I living in fear? Am I operating in fear or anger or hostility, or am I operating in kindness and love and embracing and allowing? So anything, like this election has absolutely nothing on it for me. Like I'm so beyond neutral about any of it. So it's not something that brings up a trigger for me personally. Right. But if it's something that brings up a trigger for you out there, you want to look at why. Like, what do you perceive is being activated? Do you think something's going to be taken away from you? Do you perceive that you could lose something? Do you perceive injustice? Like, what's it hitting for you? And where is that in your own experience? Where have I experienced injustice? Where have I not felt safe? And is that still running some wounding from my inner child? And this is a really big opportunity because right now we have been in these like 3 or 4, 5 days of, we have kind of a lot of ceremonial, ritualistic kind of days with the All Hallows Eve, and then which is not necessarily a great day, but then the day of ancestries, the veils being thin, people really concentrating on their ancestral releasing and healing, which I know both myself and you have both been activating a lot of ancestral work. It's been a full bar for me in the last month of ancestral healing, and it really picked up a lot this last week with the availability of that energy. Did you experience that as well?
Yeah, so I was over in Maui doing this retreat, and one component of it has to do with ancestral healing, where somebody sits and somebody else works with them one-on-one, but we sit in a circle, maybe 8 of us, 10 of us, and we witness what's happening. And one of the things I really got out of that was when someone else is coaching you like that, it wasn't therapy, it was more like coaching. It unearthed some ancestral things. The person coaching had their own intuition to ask certain questions, and then the person felt into it. And it really got me thinking back generations and generations of how important it is to go back and clear that stuff, because it absolutely affects us.
Yes. So I too have been doing a lot of work around this and doing what you're talking about. And actually there's processes energetically where it's not just like using your mind and coaching, but where you're actually dimensionally looking at the stories. So I had opportunity and I got to have you meet a friend of mine, a dear family member who, an elder who is, very adept and quite expansive to go in the field and follow your lineage. So I encourage anyone out there in your meditation to try doing this, because you don't need anyone necessarily. You just need to tap into yourself and to drop into your center point and to access your line. And I've been able to do a lot of healing, going back and rewriting stories from my past, going back to my fathers, grandmothers, and seeing where the breaks in the line have occurred. And then you actually re-heal those so that that energy that wasn't coming to you in the form of blessings or an upright position, an acknowledgement of one another, that we acknowledge our ancestors before us. Not everyone has come in with everything. Many of us came in
Heck yeah.
with a
Right.
lot broken. Well, but honestly, you've come in with a lot more. I think you have I think you're, you got a lot going on.
Uh-huh.
And some of us didn't have that. And my story is very different than yours.
Of
And so we
course.
acknowledge those differences. And I've had to work a lot harder in my story to make connections again in my lines because of the deep separations or breaks that came through ancestral wounding. And many of us incarnated that might have came on a story like myself, who incarnated into lineages that actually had a lot of trauma so that we could help release those traumas and finish the stories basically. And I feel like that's really what I've been concentrated on. I just really finished out like 4 solid lifetimes of story that I got to see in story, in dimensional framework, release, and final out, and zero, and really claim back all those pieces into wholeness, not just for myself, but from my ancestral lineage, as well as for the greater story that it was involved in on other planes, because we all represent much more than just one thing. We represent a lineage of people, your ancestral bloodlines, your DNA, but then you're a soul or a consciousness having an experience, and you have all the things that you represent and where you've come from, which is way beyond this small earth situation, and goes beyond this 15-dimensional matrix and beyond even that, or who you are, where you really come from. So when we kind of start to think on these wider aspects about what you truly represent, the magnitude of healing and transforming and rewriting becomes really magnificent.
Well, that was a lot. So thank you for that. I think one of the things that I said before with the coaching is I think the way you navigate your life is with a lot of depth and willingness to go to those places. And I think, I don't know how other people feel out there, but sometimes it's nice to have a little help. A little help to get to those places.
Oh, well, I'm a practitioner, so obviously I
You
believe
help
in
people
helping
too.
people.
Yes, you
I
do.
totally believe in helping people.
Yeah.
I was only merely saying that you don't have to wait to get help, that you can
Yes.
try things on your own too, because ultimately any practitioner is only helping one to find it themselves.
Right.
My job is to help empower you to understand your own greatness and connection to God's source energy. So that's what I meant by that, not that one shouldn't receive help or help one another. I'm very much, as a 26-year practitioner, very much about support and helping people through the journey. And I've had a lot of support and help myself. Sitting with my elder is very supportive. Doing all the work in group. I do group meditations weekly. I love all of that for sure.
And I have to say that I liked being in a group on a daily basis because people were in this place. They come in, they're paying a lot of money. They come in willing to go to those places, to go to the difficult places, and to hold space for one another. And there's a lot of power in that. And we've talked about, and one of the things I felt after it was, I want to create more of that here, like you and I have talked about.
Well, I just did a workshop just like that.
Yeah.
I did a women's retreat that's very much like what you're talking about. I'd love to co-create with you. I'm doing that, in fact, and holding space like that. I do a weekly meditation and I do a weekly group. So,
and I love that. And your meditation is online, so people can come in from anywhere in the world, which is kind of amazing. So even though we're in this small community, that's the nice part about technology, is we can get into energetically. There is no difference between where we are and where, Nova Scotia is. It's where we can be right there together, and it's very powerful.
That's right.
Yeah.
So a lot of the work I do is actually remote. So we don't need to be together to do in person to do these deeper, like, what you're saying, these deeper works can be
I
held
remember when
anywhere.
distance healing started to become a thing. I want to say, to my knowledge, was like 30 years ago.
Well, I think it was like thousands.
It was
actually
for me. But, I was just learning about it, and the idea that you could do it at a distance, it took me a while to get that. But I think with quantum physics and understanding how we're all connected, I get it.
Well, I don't think, for me, even though I've known about things for a long time, I wasn't activating those things until in the last, I was getting through my trauma. So I wasn't able to activate at that level because it took me 21 solid years to get just through my base trauma. So I wasn't activating at those levels, even though I knew it's possible. I knew I wanted to, but I didn't have the capacity at that time to do so. It's taken a lot of endurance and dedication to meditating and being in the field in order to practice. They're all just skills that we practice. So through practice and pretty much making my job, 6 hours a day to meditate creates an opportunity to use those, to move through the self. And I remember when it was difficult to to concentrate, and I had to really make myself concentrate. And that's why I say we all just start taking the first step. It's like dance too. First you're like, I can't touch my toes. Well, just try every day, and eventually you can touch your toes because you keep doing the practice and we keep repeating it. So for me, what's cool too, though, is I also think all of us have much more availability since the ascension time actually activated. And we've talked about this during our years of Intuitive Talk Story, that the Holy Mother and the availability of this divine essence of mega energy has really come in these past few years for all of us to access in a way that has not been able to before for many thousands of years. We haven't had this kind of access. So when we kind of get out of our personal story and go wide and just think about the excitement of beyond our personal selves and go, oh my gosh, this is what's happening for everyone. We're all experiencing it different ways, but this availability is really here now. And that's what's been really exciting for me is experiencing that availability and kind of riding with it and opening up to each new level of it, and then helping people to experience it wherever they are in it.
Because we all are in different places and come from different places and have different stories, and it's kind of endless. And I feel the willingness. I feel like what's really important right now, there's many things, but is a willingness to go to those places and to look at those aspects of ourselves, whether it's in this lifetime or another lifetime, where something happened and that needs to be looked at. Like you talked about years of working through trauma stuff. Well, you had to be willing to do that. And some people, they drink through it, they eat through it, they drug through it. They keep themselves busy through it so that they don't have to, it doesn't get too quiet in their mind. So I do feel like it's very, very important that we look at our willingness. Are we willing to go to these deeper places? It seems hard sometimes, but the other side of that is so freeing and liberating. I know for myself, sometimes do I want to feel what's there? Yes, I want to feel what's there, because once it's out, then I'm like, now I feel better.
Totally.
Yeah.
I can't agree with you more. And like you said, not everyone is wanting to go to the depth of the places and the, full on engaged, but we can go where our next step is. We're all at different places, like you were saying. And so it's really we're not all on per se many people know, oh yeah, I'm coming back around. I'm going to come back in. I'm going to do another life. A lot of people know that about themselves. Like they think I'm definitely not done. See, I feel like this is it for me. I'm done with this. Is my last. I'm done. I'm doing them all.
You're going somewhere else next.
I'm going to go on a different trip. I'm going to go on a different travel. But so it's really not, we're not all having the same soul experiences or the same, like what we're here to do. So it's perfect wherever we are. Wherever we are is fabulous. It's, do I want to experience the next level of myself? Do I want to experience more joy, more connectivity, more connection to my life, and feel enlivened on a daily basis. And so, what's happening out there, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling upset, if you're feeling scared, nobody makes us do anything really. We are all just perceiving our reality. And that perception comes from our own fears, our own insecurities, our own wounding. How we perceive safety is about how we perceive safety within myself. If I am safe and in wholeness in my own beingness, it's not about whether what we have, right? It's about our personal self and finding this safety within just this being, and then letting that expand outward versus letting these external situations affect your internal game. Let your internal game affect your external game.
I really appreciate that, because there are always things going on, whether nearby or around the world, that could be very triggering. And the media as it is kind of designed to feed off of those triggers and the fear and the anger and the upsetment. And so it's really important to unplug and disconnect from that as much as you can. I read something today by somebody who is a journalist and has been in that world of politics and craziness, just big stories all the time. And she made the decision to unplug and stay unplugged. She's done. She's like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And I loved that. I'm like, this was her life. This was her career. This was her everything.
I just did that.
Just unplug and make another decision. She's like, if you want to write to me personally, but I'm not going to be writing stories about that stuff anymore. I'm done.
Well, I just did a similar thing, and it does, from my own experience, it takes some courage to crush your life, to change everything you've ever done. I just crushed everything I was doing for 24 years, 22 years, crushed it all, and totally doing something totally different in many ways. Not my mainstay. I've been doing healing work forever. I've been doing many things, but there's a lot of things that have changed and shifted because they came with stories and with learning and growth. And it's not that it's bad. It's just that if we're really listening to our path, we're willing to go, oh, well, maybe I've learned something. Maybe it's just time to change gears. Maybe I learned that thing. I've completed this thing. I actually got all this stuff. I've done them and see it from I've seen it from lots of angles. There's been some sadness, some grief, a whole lot of things. I've definitely been experiencing a huge year of transformation and pain and grief and letting go and rebirth and reformation and reclamation. And it's been, honestly, the biggest year. And I turned 50. So it's just been a huge, huge year for me on so many levels. And it coincides with this greater shift that's happening and available for everyone. That's just what it's looking like for me in my reality. But we all have this availability to make some real deep change. And for me, that looks like, even though all of this has been really painful in many ways, I still get to choose, hey, no matter what we've all done to each other, no matter what we've all been to each other, let's drop all that and choose to go forward from here forward as a planet, as a humanity, as souls that are commingling together. Let us commit that I choose to go forward in love. And it first starts with the permaculture, the people in my zone 1. I forgive you, and I ask you forgive me. Whatever we've done to wrong each other, let's let that go and see each other for who we are now and move forward from there and allow the highest good to unfold. As a society, as a humanity, we've all made mistakes. We've all been very wounded, and we've all had a lot of pain. So if we can open up more compassion, and if you perceive something to be like, oh, really bad, instead, change your view. Think compassionately. What does it look like when you go, well, you know what? Maybe there's an opportunity for us to come together. Maybe there's an opportunity to see it from another angle. Maybe there's an opportunity to make a different choice and to get beyond myself and to realize that we truly are one people and to operate from that viewpoint versus a separatist viewpoint.
You brought up a lot of good points. I think with transformation comes, deep grief, sadness, pain, and joy, and bliss. I mean, that's part of the process. And my experience, having been through some personal things in my life, is when I was at my most joyful, I was also in deep grief because there was a letting go that needed to happen. And I think grief is about that letting go. And then there's something else that comes up for me where sometimes we think, especially when it comes to either relationships or situations in our life, maybe jobs, where we make like a big drama out of it, rather than what you just said, which was more about, you know what, it's time for things to change now. And that's what I need to do. I need to allow things to change. I need to move energy to change it. I need to let go of the job, let go of the person, let go of whatever, so that it can change. And I think the holding on to is what causes more pain.
Well, I have to say that for myself and a lot of people I've witnessed this year, it has been a little dramatic. It was not free of drama. It's definitely been some drama in there, and it was a little more painful and intense than maybe had anticipated or wanted. Didn't go as I wanted it to go on any level. But I think that's often what happens when we're forced to make changes. We don't necessarily, we kick and scream. A lot of times because we do hold on to things, and it's okay if you've been holding on to something. I know the feeling, but now it is time to let it go. And and letting go and really feeling into that letting go all year for myself, and really allowing that transformation. It's like it is. There's nothing to hold on to, there really isn't, because like we always say, there's nobody out there. And so anything I perceive that you're losing or you perceive is really just within your own framework. It's in yourself. It's you have everything. I mean, I realize so much about my own beingness, right? So where do I want to put my energy? Back to that. Do I want to put it into things that make me feel good and things that support community and support togetherness? Or do you want to put it into something that makes you feel bad, or makes others feel bad, or
makes others wrong?
Well, and the thing is, we're all right. Like, my experience is completely right that I had. It's not, it was my experience. And at the same time, the beings that I experienced it with, their experience is also completely valid as well. We're all having our own experience, because back to the ancestral thing, it's not just one thing. Everything I just went through, for instance, my physical story might look like, well, you were blah, 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 and you did blah, blah, blah. But that's just what we see in this 3D realm. What I actually was clearing was lifetimes of stories that were paralleling the stuff that was going on. There's actually things underneath it, that why those things are coming in, because we're playing out our ancestors' stories. We're playing out things that didn't get finished in the line before. And here is where knowing your ancestral stories really comes in to help. Had I known a number of my ancestral stories, let's say, from my ancestors previously, there's a lot of stories I may not have had to do. I could have just known the story and be like, oh, this is Aunt so-and-so's story. I guess this needs to be cleared because it's coming up in my reality and I'm about to play it out. So I could just now choose to go, hey, let me clear the energy, look a little deeper in myself, go into meditation and clear it, and not have to actually do that whole drama. I didn't understand all that when I was doing this stuff, so I actually lived the dramas so I could clear the ancestral life. And then I did numerous ones like that early on in my 20s, just going through the thing and living it and then clearing it and living it and then clearing it. And that's kind of how I've been doing it. But now I understand, oh gosh, you don't have to live them all. You can actually just clear them.
Just see them and clear them.
Just see them and clear them.
Yeah.
And it's so much faster. And gosh, what a whole lot of pain you don't have to go through. And it's understanding that that's why I bring that up, that we all have the capacity to do this. And what I think our society teaches people a lot is that they need somebody else to get there. Not that you can't have somebody help you. We love helping. But you are capable and sovereign and amazing and powerful and connected to source. And that's, seeing everyone as this empowered lighthouse is how I choose to activate.
empowerment is the word of the day.
Yeah.
It's the word of the year. Empowering one another to do whatever we need to do to be the best version of ourselves. And I think, taking it however one wants to take it, it's the willingness to look at, I have this block or that block, or this triggers me or that triggers me. Well, to take the time and not just live in the trigger, but to take the time and the effort to go within, go sit outside under a palm tree and feel into it and feel how it might be connected to your ancestors.
And I want to bring something up in that, because what I notice a lot lately and doing lots of sitting with folks these days, really noticing how difficult it is for people to drop into their knowing. Like, most people are thinking. You're thinking. Mm-hmm. And the society has taught everyone to think with their brain and to make that, I'm thinking about it. And then you say, well, I don't know. Well, I don't have the answer. We all have the answers to pretty much everything you want to know. If you go into your center, if you drop down into this deeper place in yourself, and maybe just try it. I mean, we're all right here.
Yeah.
Try it for a second.
Let's do it right now.
Why not? And take a breath.
And if you're driving, just don't close your eyes.
Exactly.
But you can still feel it. Go ahead.
Yeah, and just feel into take a breath and let everything drop out your breath. And just see yourself kind of flowing down into your belly, to your heart. Just feel yourself in your center. Feel yourself come into your body. If you feel yourself hovering above it, feel yourself drop into your center of your head. Connect it to your heart. Take another few breaths and just feel yourself present here now. And from this place, you can ask yourself anything like, is everything okay? Am I good? Yeah, everything's fine right now. Do I have everything I need? You can feel kind of this lift. If you're not practiced, one way to feel it is, do I feel a little lift or do I feel a drop in my body? Sensing this kind of, you're asking your own resonance. So just sit there for a minute and ask yourself just a couple of questions. Is my name such and such? Is anything out there actually affecting me in here in my daily life? Am I experiencing any of the things I perceive might be scary, or are they just in my mind? And from this place of knowing, do I feel safe, connected to myself? And if you just stay in this presence, in this center point, and then open your eyes and allow yourself to feel this as you continue moving through your day, from this softness in yourself, from this understanding, from this kind of a peace. Maybe you feel a little peace now.
I feel a little peace now, Michál. That was sweet. And I also feel that I think that having that moment, it's like meditation. When you find yourself getting agitated, you bring yourself back to this moment. You bring yourself back to that quiet, peaceful place. When the brain gets a little, you're starting to feel chaotic, bring it back. Bring yourself back to that center that you just brought us to.
That's all meditation is. It's coming into presence.
It's just bringing us back. And, one of the things that came up for me while you were talking, doing this, is I think, you touched on this, when some people react to what they see on the news and they're afraid, oh my God, what about this? Oh my God, what about that? I would ask, what are you afraid of? Not forget about the news out there. It's triggering a fear, right? And it might have nothing to do with what's going on way over there.
It most likely does not.
There's probably something you're afraid of, and it's pushing that button for you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And we kind of brought that
yeah.
up in the beginning. So that's a nice circle back to remind you that everything out there is just bringing up your own inner fear or your inner wounding. And if you can trace it, like Ila's saying, go back, ask the question, like we were saying, go back to why am I feeling scared? And then is this associated most likely to my little person inside of me? Where would my little person feel this fear, or with whom? And then if I can go to that place and create a resonance of love and connection to my inner self and make my inner self feel safe and forgive the players there and kind of grab what's mine out of that memory and release the rest, that's that picking up the pearls process I talk a lot about. I do have a meditation on my channel, Michál Anna on YouTube, that is on the daily tools list, picking up your pearls. It's a meditation to help you go in and do this process, because it can be a little tricky. Like Eila said, it's nice to have a little help and guidance sometimes. So you can go in and do that and find these pieces that are I'm not seeing. See, our external situation has to continue to show us what we can't see. I'm going to continue to create the dramas, traumas, and the things that I'm feeling inside myself. I'm going to see them in front of me until I heal the things inside of me. So whatever is out there, you're like, gosh, why is that still in my view? What am I missing? It's in me. So whatever comes up around me, they're all reflections. Everyone's just mirroring
mirrors everywhere.
your own thing.
Yeah.
So
and I think that I've seen a few people comment with, really angry, really enraged, and I would just ask, if you're having that kind of anger and rage,
why are you so angry?
What is it? What is it pushing in you? What are you really angry about?
And who didn't treat you well?
Yeah.
Who hurt you?
Yeah.
Who hurt you, really?
Look at that.
Because most people if we're dealing with anger, it's usually from our childhood wounding. Someone was really not kind to us, and we're little children, and we deserve to be loved. And so we get to love that little person and get help. We all, like Eila said, need help. And I will guarantee you from all the practitioner years that I have had that when you are in deep wound and suffering and trauma, you absolutely need help. You absolutely need someone to help hold accountability, to be like, hey, are you doing your tools? Are you doing the thing? And that's the kind of work I do, is that coaching and kind of guidance to help you stay on track, because it is difficult to keep yourself on track. You haven't known up until now, so how would you know now? You need a little help to get there.
Yes.
And that's what we do. We help one another until we get it, until we got it. And then it's like, all right, once you got it, you're on your own. But we all need to empower each other. And this is not easy stuff, because honestly, all of it is about changing your entire paradigm that you've been taught. Most Western people have been taught since they were little a whole paradigm that's really not true. Most of it has trained us to give away our power to other sources in some capacity throughout your entire upbringing, whether it be the doctor, the dentist, the teacher, the so-and-so, the blah, blah, blah. Everybody, when you're growing up, knows more than you, supposedly. And I've asked many 10-year-olds, having taught children for 20 years, I've asked many children, hey, at 10-year-olds, how much do you know about this body that you're in? Tell me a little bit about what you know. They're like, I don't really know that much. I'm like, gosh, that's amazing, right? You've been here 10 whole years, and no one's really told you anything about the only thing you actually have here, like for the ride. And we know, people know very little about it. Look what you're eating. What are you eating out there, folks? Bottom line, if you're still eating Twinkies, getting sugar drinks at the grocery store, whatever, if it says high fructose corn syrup on it, if the first ingredient is sugar, you're literally eating entities. They're small. They come in the chemicals. They overrun your brain. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
If
No, it's scientifically proven.
It's scientifically proven. Get out of the sugar game. Candida is sugar run. It is parasites that eat sugar. Those parasites get in your brain and then they run you. Most of what you think is yours isn't yours because of what we eat, what we put in. And then you give power to a belief, a thought, and then you put that in and you start running that. And then all these things are running. None of them are you. Your natural state is to feel amazing, to know that you are the essence of the grand and to just be the creative hologram of the infinite that you are.
Core essence.
Yes.
core essence. And when you say about kids and they don't always know anything about their bodies on a physical level, and then there's the intuitive level. I mean, I remember being a kid, and if you had a cough, you took this, and there was no reflection of why do I have a cough? Do I need to say something? Is that cough trying to tell me something? Like in the culture I grew up in, it was doctors and dentists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so on the opposite side of that, I've had opportunity to work with some young children where they cough and we're like, oh, what's going on? Is your throat hurting? And honestly, this point in the game, like you actually connected to something in your throat chakra. Let's just pull that off real quick. Poom, poom, shoo. Okay, better. Oh yeah, haha, gone.
Yeah.
Like that's honestly what we're at.
That's where we need to be going.
We have the capacity to move things like this. I'm experiencing that kind of stuff daily, where you're just making a sound and poof, pulling stuff out. Implants are energetic. It's a dimensional framework. If you're working on other dimensional frameworks, you see that they're all happening simultaneously. And so if you pull one in one dimension, it actually changes it in all the dimensional frameworks, which is really, really cool. So it means that the way your body worked, the way you thought, isn't the way it necessarily is, but we have to give ourselves what we need. We need the salts of the earth. We need minerals. We need compounds. We need nutrition. So this thing needs to operate correctly. So body, mind, spirit, we have to take that triangle up the pole all together. If we just do the spiritual stuff, but we still drink Coca-Cola every day, well then it's going to be real hard for me to own my mind.
Absolutely. So I just did that.
Right, so you can attest
so
to
let
that.
me speak to that. So I spent a year down the rabbit hole of sugar, and I was still eating healthy and doing all my spiritual work and all that. And now I'm a month clear of sugar and flour, and oh my God, it's like I know what this feels like because I lived it for years, but then I fell off the wagon. And it's funny, I have the scalar thing that I sit in this scalar field, and I feel like all that stuff kept me from like getting really sick.
Yeah.
Because I was eating just when I start eating like the candy bars from the grocery store, I know I'm in big trouble.
Oh, no.
That's where it went.
That's where it went.
That's where it went. And I'm like, okay, you are really. So, not to beat myself up because I've been known to do that.
No.
It was, I needed to find my source and find my everything. And anyway, I realized that I was able to keep off any real sickness this whole past year. Now that I'm off of this stuff, I'm like, wow, where am I going to go now? Now that that's out of my body, now I can really go into the other dimensions and really go into higher vibrational everything. It feels like, like Superwoman,
It's really quite amazing. I mean, I pulled everything out. It's been almost 5 years now. And it's been like such an adventure and a whole exploration of navigating more light and moving through all the healing and, releasing layers and pulling things out and cleansing and releasing, everything that you don't need. And, at this point, I'm really loving the sensitivity, of like all the different things. Like I think I've expressed before, like I ate some cheese one time and I really got to feel what the cheese did. Like it was really you get to see what things really do, and you really get to, if you are going to experience them, you get to experience it versus like, give me another cheese
shovel
pizza.
it in
And just have another. And like, you aren't really actually getting the thing that you want to get. If you're going to use it, like let's really savor it. You get to enjoy things a lot more.
Yeah, but addiction isn't addiction and savor are not
they
in
don't,
the same sentence.
They don't go together. Yeah, it's true. So it's moving out of that. So actually, that you're talking about, it wasn't quite moving into the addiction part. But if we're going to bring that up, then I think of, well, that's always trying to fill something. So back to our center, that place we visited earlier. If addiction is in the game, then we want to go, what am I trying to fill up? Where am I trying to fill up? What's that place I'm feeling empty or like I don't receive love or support or happiness? What am I filling? And so we go to this place and allowing ourselves to see what that is and then give ourselves what we need so we don't have to fill it up with this other thing. You know, and then at the same time, I will say, it's not like, you know, like, can I do anything? Can I have any fun? Yeah. So there's sometimes I'm like, you know what? Give yourself whatever you need. It's not like, be regimed and be like strict. And
it's not all about abstinence.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the things, honestly, that helped me during some of this time, I'm like, one of my guilty pleasures is actually shopping. I'm like, I am going to go get something that's going to make me feel better. And sometimes, you know, it's like, I know it's shopping. I know it might be just like filling up this little place, but it feels
we
good.
Are in 3D
we
too,
are in
dear.
3D, and it's like, it feels nice to have something like, see, it feels nice. I feel good. So what I'm saying is sometimes you might have, you know, whatever it is that you feel like, that's what I like to do, and it makes me feel good. It's not harming anyone. I'm not, you know.
Well, especially if you're not harming your body.
I'm not harming myself, not harming anybody else.
I think, you know, buying yourself a new dress or something.
Exactly.
We are in this world, and that is part of our life, and I think we have to answer that question for ourselves anyway. Somebody else, it might be, I've been wanting to paint for 5 years, and you know, I was so consumed with the food that, well, now I have a lot of time on my hands, so, oh yeah, I always wanted to paint, so let me get the paints and let me do that.
I love to paint.
Yeah, and it's not about creating something and putting it up for sale, and it's about creating.
Now, this brings up another thing that I'd love to share in this vein, because I've been on the phone a lot. I'm development director of a small nonprofit, and I've been working in Africa for the last 12 years in Guinea, and I get the opportunity to speak to my team in Guinea almost nightly, teaching them in Susu about being empowered, about taking initiative, about someone's not going to always give you something because you got up and worked. I go outside and I'm working on my farm and working every day. No one's giving me anything to do that. I do it because I want to, because I want to see a nice life, because I want food, because I want a good life. I work. I've always worked. I work hard. And showing them, walking them around, showing them what I do, showing them how I work, talking to them about transparency, honesty, you know, about keeping direct communication, navigating their empowerment. It's really been so fun to watch their empowerment, unbelievable amounts. And to have these grown men who, you know, share that I'm like mother to, that call me mother and big sister, is really, it's been profound. It's been very, very profound to see this work that I've dedicated this time to, and really see it exploding we have a breadfruit farm and trees growing. So food, empowerment. If nothing else, grow food, get your hands in the dirt. We can all get empowered by growing our own food and helping ourselves create health for our soil, for our earth, and for ourselves. And when you're in the soil, when your hands are in the soil, you feel better. You're connecting with the microbes. You're connecting with the earth. You're getting grounded. You're grounding, and that makes all the difference. I mean, grounding is so important. Here in Kohala, we take it for granted. You know, if you live in Hawaii, you're so used to like being grounded or having access to nature. You know, grounding is so important. In the cities, they sell grounding sheets and grounding mats and things to stand on that are like that you can buy just so you can stand on what would be like a patch of earth.
Yeah.
So for those of us who live near earth, get out there and take advantage. Like, how grateful are we that we can be on the ground and you can receive that healing so easily. And just standing outside with your bare feet for 5 minutes will change your day.
Touching a tree, touching leaves, you know, connect
Being with
something
the earth.
that's
Communing.
Yeah.
And then when you get a little further and start gardening, you know, talk to the farmers and talk to their relationship with the trees, the plants, the animals, the fairies, like the relationshiping that starts to happen when we commune, and everything gets to open up more. So whatever we think is on the surface, this is kind of back to the beginning of what we're seeing out there. Maybe it's not what you think. You know, it's possible that everything you think you're seeing on the surface isn't what it is. And underneath it, as you explore and open up the thing, and like the earth and on the top, it seems like one thing, but as you put your hands in the soil and you start to move and groove, you start communing. The plants open up, things start talking to you. You find a magical world, and nothing is what you thought it was. So allow yourself the opportunity to release what you think something is and allow it to become the magical thing. We are all creating this world together. You are a creator, whether you know it or not. So if you're focused on it's not going to work, oh no, we're screwed, that's creating.
Right.
So what do you want to create? Instead, let's create, you know what? It is what it is, and let's move together and let's see it all working the way we want, because that's how powerful you are.
You know, I received a email from my brother today. My brother is very intellectual, smart, book smart, and he used to be very involved in politics. And he wrote me a very short email about his feeling about what happened. And I just couldn't help but write what came from my heart, which is about the optimism and the possibilities, and that there will be a better future for future generations. It's hard to see that now because of where people are at with what's going on. Some people might believe that now. I just feel like it's really important to hold that up there, that things are going to get more amazing, more positive, more beautiful, more multidimensional.
Absolutely. And back to you being a creator. So, whatever you're going to put your energy.
Yeah.
And remember, we're not all on the same earth.
That's
so
right.
you can experience what you like by putting your energy towards it. And on the other side, this whole time we were talking about this veils and this time period, these last 5 days of availability, a lot of beings have been putting their energy towards exactly that, the positive new future. And this bifurcation is happening, has happened. We are in it, and it is there. And the positive is being manifest. So it's right there. It's all there for us right now if we choose to open our eyes and go, yeah, I'm in. I'm down for that vision. I like it. I'll take it. That's all we got to do is go, yep, I'm gonna choose to connect to the higher vision, not to what I think is going on down here, but I'm going to choose the higher vision. I may not have the clear sight to understand how it's going to all play out.
Right.
And that's
exactly.
okay. It's not your job to understand all that. It's our job to put our energy towards that which we are wanting to create. That's our job. So whatever is in your way of being an empowered, sovereign human who was operating from a genuine, authentic place of love and compassion, well, that's the thing to tackle.
Let's take a quick break. We're getting near the end, and we'll be right back on Intuitive Talk Story.
KNKR is having a party. That's right. KNKR, your favorite radio station, is inviting the community to join us for music and fun at the Resilience Hub Barn on Saturday, November 9th from 5 to 9 p.m. Come join us and meet your favorite KNKR DJs. Listen and dance to live music with our very own Tawny Waipa and her band, Tawny and the Boys. Also playing will be Ook Jam, our local ukulele group. And KNKR DJs will be spinning some great dance music. There will be a raffle with some fabulous prizes. A food truck will be cooking up some local grinds, and beverages will be available. KNKR is an all-volunteer radio station, and we need community support to keep our doors open. All proceeds of the event will go towards keeping KNKR on the air to entertain you and keep you informed. We are looking forward to meeting our listeners and celebrating with you our continued service to the Kohala community. That's Saturday, November 9th, from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Resilience Hub Barn. See you there.
There is still no such reality as something.
Wake up! Wake up!
Wake up your senses. Turn on and tune in to Switched On Stereo Gab, a mind-expanding mix of psychedelic and inspiring tunes, along with talk story about music and bands. Wednesday nights from 6 to 8 p.m., with encore shows on Mondays from 7 to 9 p.m. Here on KNKR and streaming at knkr.org.
It's a rare and special thing for this small community at the end of the road in the middle of the Pacific to have its own community radio station. KNKR has been on the air for 8 years now, and with your continued generosity, we can be on the air for another 8 years. Keep us in mind when you have a few extra bucks. Go to our website, knkr.org, and find the donate button. It's simple and it's easy to donate to KNKR.
Aloha and welcome back to KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala.
We
Yes.
want to invite you this Saturday, if you are here in Kohala or on island, Hub at the Kohala Hub Barn. We're going to be having a fundraiser for the radio station, 96.1 KNKR. Come out and support Kohala Radio. There's going to be music, Tani and the Boys, Uka Jam, dance jams by KNKR DJs, some local grinds, grab a drink, win a prize. So
Yes.
come on out, 5
There's
to 9.
also going to be a silent auction.
And a silent auction.
Silent. It's kind of a weird name for an auction, isn't it? Silent.
It is funny. It is funny. A lot of things are like that. So
Yeah.
good point. Ask questions. What am I saying? Do we say phrases just because people say them?
Mm-hmm.
Do you just repeat and regurgitate things? Do we regurgitate holidays and intentions just because they've been given to you forever?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it time, like Eila was saying, to like throw out the old systems and just choose to create some new systems? Like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to keep placating the old ways, or do we want to get courageous, put on our big girl pants, and stand up and make new systems and put our eye on that which we are wanting to create? Back to that. You are an amazing creator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that reminds me of something I've probably said before, but when I went through a big major change in my life and Christmas was coming, I had done the very traditional family Christmas thing for years. And I was like, I can't do that now. And I hung my Christmas tree upside down from the ceiling. So, create your
Yes.
version of the upside down Christmas tree, whatever that is.
Reframe it.
Yeah.
Into your own beautiful ritual experience, giving reverence to truth, to light, to compassion, to your true authentic core, to living from that true place. If you go back to that true place and you go, ask yourself something like, is this thing true? No, it's really not. Oh, shoot. I kind of, you will find a lot of times you're like, but I wanted it to be true.
Yes.
Oh, but I actually wanted that to be the thing.
Yes.
I wanted that to have all the answers. I wanted that. Meh. That's the disappointment when you realize nothing is. Like, it's like, oh, it's not that either. Neither is that. Neither is that, because you're the thing. You are the thing.
Yeah, and I think, disappointment, we can all deal with disappointment. So I think it's more important that we follow the truth that's in our hearts and in our bodies. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You were talking about healing from the earth, healing with the earth and grounding before. And years ago, my mom died, and that Mother's Day was 2 months later. And I planted flowers in my yard, not because I wasn't into the earth. I didn't understand healing and the earth and what it could do for me. But it was at the end of the day that I reflected back and said, oh my God, I was so peaceful all day. I never felt like that angst and grief of mom's not here. Oh my God, like the whole drama. It didn't happen, but I realized that I had been planting flowers for a couple of hours, and the earth she gave me what I needed. And it changed my life. I really got it. And I no one had ever told me that. I'm kind of a city slicker from growing up. There was not a lot of earth to dig in, but that I really got it. So I think it's really valuable, whether you're here in Kohala or you're listening from some other place, to find a connection to the earth. If it's snowing out, you just go outside and you sit in the snow and you let the snowflakes fall on your face, and it's cold and it feels good.
Absolutely. And that touches on kind of back to if you're trying to find the compassion or find the place of safety. Well, we surrender to our mother. We surrender to our mama. We surrender to our true mother, Mother Nature, Uncle Earth. We surrender to these places and to our family, our true family. Our parents in this earth timelines aren't our real parents. They're our fellow sojourners and the people we love.
Our guardians and our teachers and our students and all that.
But we're all connected, and our greater parents, quote unquote, is our, cosmic mother and father, which we get to go to for infinite support and unconditional love, because us humans, we're fallible. We make mistakes. We don't hold our unconditional love. We hurt one another. I mean, that's what's happened. We keep hurting each other with our wounding in many situations. And so we're stopping that by bringing your awareness to it and going, gosh, it's okay to admit we've all been on this train, and let's get off of it and let's go for what we want. Let's just, call the kettle, see what it is, call out the pink elephant, and let's make peace with that and make a real choice to bring things to light, because that's real available with the astrology now. We're in a real big bringing it to light Scorpio season. All that's some great Pam Gregory, great astrology. If you listen to astrology or would like to understand more, she's fabulous British woman who really does an incredible job.
She's very good, yeah.
And she talks a lot about this right now and in regards to the politics and all the other things too, from an astrological point. And it all lines up together. That's why it doesn't matter what camp you're in or what perspective you take. We can all choose to see from whatever angle the unified field and make a choice that that's where we're going. Towards the new earth and in a compassionate working together.
And hallelujah.
Yeah.
So we're going to finish up now. Before we end, I would like people to, I just want to give them your YouTube, because you do have some wonderful meditations and guidance visualizations on there. So Michalanna. That's where you're going to find Michál. That's how you spell her name.
There's a space between those two.
Yes, Michál Anna on YouTube. And you are the only one with that name like that.
The other one is a thing called Hot Topic, which is still me. It's my album from 2007.
But this we want people to get there so that they can, if they need a tool, it's there. You've made it and you've kept it up there for a while.
And it's free. So I mean, please use them. They're there for empowerment. They're there to help, help do the thing.
Yeah, well, and thank you for that. Thank you for putting them up. You make a lot of effort to do that, to get all these shows and all of your work up there, and so people can access it. And that's a beautiful thing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And thank you for
Eila.
being here. And I'll hope to see you Saturday night. And those of you out there in Radio Land, hope to see you Saturday night at the fundraiser here at the Hub Barn.
Thanks for tuning in to KNKR. We love and appreciate you. And thanks for tuning into our show. And we'll be back live in a couple weeks and catch some replays in the meantime.
Aloha.